Hey everybody, welcome to RefTime, powered by RTS and produced by Coraggio Media. I'm Tanya.
And I'm Crane. We'll be covering rules, plays, points of emphasis, and all things official. And welcome to another segment of RefTime. We're in the studio today in downtown Fort Wayne, beautiful downtown Fort Wayne, with the one, the only, the Jourdan Love. You want to change it?
No.
That was mad love. I like that.
It's never the same. I don't know if you've watched any of the podcasts, but it's never the same. And he messed Christine's up. So
okay, this is the way I wanted to.
And
do
I
it.
told him that he was gonna mess it up, and he's like, "I'm not gonna. I got it written down." And then he gets on there.
This
and
is
he
the way I
messes it
wanted
up.
to do it. So I gotta start over. Welcome to another segment of RefTime. We're in the studio downtown Fort Wayne, beautiful downtown, with the great, the one, the only Jourdan Love. Which one you like better?
I like the second one.
You like the second one better?
Yep. It's a little fierce. I like that.
You are so loud.
Was I?
Yes.
Well, that's good for me because they always tell me I have a soft voice, so I guess that's good.
Well, that hurt my ears.
Did it?
Yeah.
It didn't hurt his ears. He smiled bigger when I said that.
I like that. I mean,
He's like, if this is what the show is, I'm
you
good.
said that better than my ex-girlfriend.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
Okie dokie. We're going to move right on from
right
there.
along on that one.
So thanks for joining us, Jourdan. We appreciate it. So you are from Fort Wayne originally?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit about where you came from, how you got started in Fort Wayne, all that good stuff. You were telling us beforehand the school you went to, so.
Yep. I grew up on the north side, DuPont Road. I bussed every single day out to Weiser Park. So, yeah.
You came
That's
from
quite a
DuPont
bus.
Road to Weiser Park.
Yeah. So, I got put in the lottery, and I got selected.
Oh, so Weiser Park was a magnet school?
Because it's a magnet school, yeah.
Oh,
So
okay.
they did like a lottery process.
Okay.
And so I went to North Christian Daycare, which is North Christian Church over there in Northcrest.
Mm-hmm.
It has a different name now, but I would go there for daycare. But there was also a bus stop that would take me to school. So every morning my parents would drop me off there because the bus for Weiser Park wouldn't pick me up all the way off at DuPont.
Right.
So they took me there.
Right.
And yeah, so I went there pre-K to 5th grade. And then I was going to go to Memorial Park.
Mm-hmm.
And then
another magnet school.
Yeah. So then, I grew out of daycare. And so the process of sending me from north all the way out south for my parents, I think was getting a little too lengthy.
Mm-hmm.
So then I ended up being the new kid on the block. I went to Jefferson Middle School, which was in my district. And the bus stop was like at the stop sign in front of my house, which my parents love that.
Okay.
So I went to Jefferson 6th, 7th, 8th. And then I went to Northrop all 4 years, graduated from Northrop in 2012. And then I went to IPFW to finish off the hometown cycle.
Nice.
Graduated in 2017, and it was IPFW.
Yeah.
It wasn't the Purdue Fort Wayne yet. But yeah, so I'm Fort Wayne through thick and thin, and I really enjoy it. So
Fort Wayne bred.
Yep.
And you say that with pride.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I do.
I
I
like
love Fort Wayne for sure.
I like it because
So-
there's a lot of people from Fort Wayne and they talk bad about, man, Fort Wayne this. I'm like, well, why are you still here?
I will say this. So right after college, I moved to New York City, which was like the best and the worst thing to happen to me because it was the best because I did enjoy it. The worst part is I found out how you can go broke fast out there. And so realizing that at a younger age, and then when I moved back to Fort Wayne, I just thinking of how made we have it here, like the cost of living, being in somewhat control of the time on when you're going to get from destination A to B versus waiting on a train or delay or missing the train.
We're trying to drive in that traffic.
We're trying to drive in the traffic.
True.
So I lived in Brooklyn, which I did love that whole experience. But again, that experience really showed me how like Fort Wayne is awesome. Cost of living, growing a family, buying real estate,
Yes, sir.
all those things.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So, yeah.
And our daughter Sydney, she went to school in
Manhattan.
Manhattan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's
What school did she go to?
John Jay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Yep.
Okay.
So she went first semester, and that was a reality check.
Wake
Yeah.
up call.
You know,
Yeah.
financially because it was very expensive.
Yep.
And I think it was more than what she had anticipated. So
just the drive out there, 10 hours.
Yeah, it was 10 hours.
I had to drive her out there, and you had to drive her out there a couple of times, and man, that's a haul.
Yeah, it's a haul.
Yeah, people think, oh, I'm going to go to school in New York and go live in New York.
Now it was fun. I got to admit, there's always something to do.
Yes,
I mean, even when we went out there and we'd go out there and visit, I mean, there was stuff to do.
Yeah.
Monuments to visit and.
Well, what got me, first thing that jumped out at me is I'm driving in, and I think we're driving in the middle of the night. We get there in the middle of the night.
Yep.
The place was jumping. People were walking around like it was 12 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, wow, this is amazing. This city really never sleeps.
Never sleeps.
Yeah.
That blew my mind.
Yeah.
Yes. And I do like that about New York City because I got a lot of energy. I have realized as I'm getting older now, I do like to stay in more than go out. But if you're with your buddies at 1 a.m. and you're like, man, I'm hungry, let's go get it. You can almost choose wherever you want to go because they stay open and
all the time.
They get the business. So
Right.
So living in New York, and where else have you lived besides Fort Wayne and New York?
Those are the only two spots.
Okay.
So
now, tell us about what you're doing now, because now, obviously, we brought you in for the officiating. Well, I want to hear about that, but you also have some stuff going on with business. So
yeah. So we're in our second year. I have a landscaping business. We just wrapped up our second season of snow removal, which was more like salting because we haven't been getting a lot of snow,
Which is good.
Which is good and bad for the business.
For your finances, yes.
And then now we're on our second year of landscaping, and we do a lot of weekly lawn maintenance. We do a ton of landscaping projects. But then we also have a sister company, which is Three Rivers Painting Company, which was our original business. And so those two alone keep us very busy. I have a business partner. I handle all the lawn care operation. He handles all the painting operation. And so, it keeps us super busy. When you get the experience of being in charge of somebody else's livelihood, somebody who works for you, that really opens up your eyes. There's some weeks like last week there was not a lot of rain and it's been very dry, and so I had to cut hours, and I got my people are calling me like, hey, we need some hours. I'm like, man, I trust me, if I had $1 million, I would help out everybody that I can.
Right.
So sometimes it's fun growing in that, but then realizing the responsibility for people's livelihood. It's kind of eye-opening, and I enjoy it in a weird way. And we have a really good culture. But it kind of grows you up real quick to have to do something like that, doesn't it? Yep.
So what made you want to get into business?
So I was working in the corporate world right out of college. Starting when I moved to New York, I was working corporate, and then when I came back, I was working for a smaller company here, but still working for somebody else. And I just always felt like I had the energy and the ambition to do something on my own. And one of my best friends, who's my business partner, we had always talked about doing something together. And it was just like everything else, timing, and trusting the process. And it was never that time, and then it was that time. And so we'll go a little bit more into detail, I'm sure, but basically I made that decision a couple years ago when I saw that my basketball career was getting ready to grow exponentially. And so that's when I decided it was time that I could go work for myself. Then you're like, okay, how am I going to get the insurance? And you just start to figure out all these different things, and everything just kind of but yeah, like I said, timing is everything, and it finally was that time, and we jumped in, and so. Are
you still in your 20s or in your 30s now?
I just turned 30.
Just turned 30.
So speaking about your basketball career, take us back to when you got started into officiating. What made you get into it, and the progression of that?
Yeah. So, when I played, I was the guy who referees hated. And so just the original thought of being a referee, I'm like, I feel like I would never be a referee. And then I had a family friend here in town that asked me a couple times to ref, and I'm like, no way. And then it really was one of those, the third time's a charm. They asked me again, and I got my big shirt and my pee whistle, and I went out to Spiece and started refereeing some games on a Sunday back in the fall of 2013. I started in September 2013. working several Sundays in a row for free, just to learn, just to blow the whistle. You know what I mean? And then kind of started to get a little more comfortable. And then the first couple seasons started, doing middle school, freshman, JV, varsity. You guys know the process. And so in my second season in 2015 is when I did my first varsity game. Well, later on in 2015 of the fall, so my first varsity game was in the winter of 2015. And then in the fall, early winter of 2015 is when I broke into college. And so I did my first, so in the winter of 2015, I did my first varsity game. And then in the fall of 2015, I did my first college game, which was kind of crazy.
Yeah, that's nice.
Somebody saw something in me and they were like, man, you should start to go to college camps. I'm like, I've barely reffed any varsity high school basketball.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
But you were young and a quick learner.
Yeah, which, I didn't realize that. And then as it kind of like went on, I'm like, man, I'm a sponge and I'm kind of absorbing things and I'm filtering out what's not working for me. And then so I went to my first 3 college camps in the summer of 2015, and they all picked me up, and I started to get some like Division III, some junior college and NAIA opportunities. And so I did 2 years of small college, hadn't worked a Division II game, and in the summer of 2017, I got hired by, which is the Big Ten Consortium, which is who I work for. And so I'm working Division I in 2017, and which was really surreal. Like I honestly didn't think I would get picked up. So I went for the first time, and typically you have to go like 3 or 4 times to get hired. And like I said, again, it's just like he saw something in me, and the rest of the clinicians saw something, and they gave me a chance. And now, of course, you got to have I'm blessed with some great mentors, because you do have to have people pushing you, just like any other profession in life.
Sure.
But at the end of the day, the proof has to be in the pudding.
Right.
And so it just kind of was all coming together. And I just wrapped up my 8th year of Division I, which is crazy to me.
Wow.
So,
Now you do Division I on the men's side. Correct.
Yep.
So back when you got started, did they tell you that you had to choose like women's or men's, and that was the path that you wanted was men's? Or
yeah. So they're like, hey, it's a fork in the road. Like you can either go women's or you can go men's. And obviously being a male and playing playing basketball, I was just like, this is the college basketball that I've always watched and I've admired is men's basketball, especially Big Ten men's basketball. And so that's kind of the route I chose to do. In 2015 or 2016, I went down to Dallas and did the grassroots for the NBA program. I got identified and did that. And I found out, again, fast, that like that's not what I want to do. Like my passion's men's college basketball.
Okay.
And so because people ask me all the time, maybe one day you'll be the NBA, and then I got to kind of explain, well, again, there's a fork on the road. Like
right.
It's not hybrid. You got to choose one
Right.
path or the other.
Right.
And I've stuck to the men's side, and again because of my passion, but then also my mentors and how I know the advocates are on that side for me. So
and most of your mentors, they are on the side of men's college.
correct.
That kind of speaks for itself.
So
Yeah. So what would you say has been the one thing that you've learned the most in your officiating career so far? What's the one highlight that stands out the most?
the one highlight to me is the faster that you can get like comfortable with being uncomfortable, your confidence is going to grow. I mean, exponentially. And it's very humbling, because the moment you think you've mastered it and nobody can stop you, there's going to be a play, there's going to be a situation with the coach.
Yep.
But like I said, getting comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Wow.
And
I'm so glad you said that, because she knows that's something I say in business all the time. We lead we're in some leadership positions, and I was just telling my group the other day that the one thing that I've learned in business is to become comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And not only does that help you in business, but it helps you in life in general.
Yeah.
I mean, you being a business owner now, you just talked about a few minutes ago how uncomfortable it is for you to have to tell your coworkers or your workers, I don't have any work for you.
Yeah.
That's so uncomfortable.
Exactly.
How do you get comfortable with something like that, though?
Right.
Yeah, exactly. And I think a lot of it too, like, when we talk about sales, like I know you guys are in sales, like that experience, because like I used to do cold call, new business development, and being told no, but then being told yes, like you live for that. Like, the no's, it's like that's the worst thing that could happen.
Yeah.
Right.
And like I look at like being a business owner and being a referee is like sales,
Yes, sir.
But the biggest thing is communication.
Yes, sir.
And so getting through those uncomfortable situations, a lot of time, the anchor is communication.
Yep.
Guys all the time, they're like, what's like one advice, as far as moving up, what's the number one advice you would give? And I always tell, just being a great communicator and being honest. Like, knowing, like if you miss a play and you're going over there and the coach is asking you about it, more times than not, the best thing you can do is admit that you were wrong.
Yep.
Because then what are they going to say? And now it's the next play, and so now they've moved on.
Right.
But if you sit there and you're trying to, explain, especially when you're wrong and you're trying to
Cover it
because
up.
it's that ego.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
But if you can put the ego to the side,
Yes, sir.
so
Yeah, those are good lessons, and I'm glad you said that. How many younger officials would you say that are watching you that you are intentionally mentoring? How many are you mentoring?
Yeah, so right now I got about 2 or 3. One's local, and then I have some other like across the board, across the state that I've met at camps or that I've worked that are our younger officials on Division I rosters who I've worked with, and just trying to help them out. Because they're asking me questions about camps or whether it's rules, things like experiences that I've been through that I can share back with that. So
one of the things that you said was, so you started in 2013. And by 2015, you were going to 3 different college camps.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of young officials don't realize you got to put money into it. And sometimes you're not going to get picked up right away.
Yeah.
It may take you 2 or 3 times going to that camp before you get picked up. And I know it's frustrating because then they're looking like, oh, I spent this money, but we always tell them you're going to the camp to get better. Yeah, the hope there in the back of your mind is, you hope you get picked up, but really you got to be there engaged, ready to learn.
Yes.
What can I do better?
Yep.
Because as long as we've been officiating, I feel like I can always learn something.
Absolutely.
I watch you and I'm like, oh, I can learn, I can learn some stuff. And I've been officiating longer than you.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean I can't learn from you.
Right.
And I think that's the biggest thing that we try to tell new people is don't come in and expect that you're just going to be given.
Yeah.
Things aren't going to be given to you. You got to work for it.
Yeah.
I think one reason people think that is folks think officiating is easy.
Yeah.
People that don't know what we do, they think it's easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we just throw a shirt and a whistle on and go out there.
I'd say that it is much easier for us the longer we do it.
Yeah.
But when I get newbies in and we're, taking them through the first class and they come in and we ask them just a general question in class, you play basketball? Oh, yeah. Okay, you think you know something? Yeah, I think I know some things. And we'll ask them just a general question. And
we'll ask them about backcourt violation.
Yeah.
And they're like, we don't know. I don't know. That's fine.
Yeah.
We're like, no, there's more to it.
And I'm saying, no, you're the official. You got to make a decision.
Yeah.
You can't sit there and him all around. Let's go. And they go, I guess I don't know as much as I thought.
Yeah. No, that's the truth.
And then the different levels. That's one of the things that we tell people too. Like you're watching a 3rd grade game, and then you go watch a high school game, and then you go watch a college or NBA. Well, they're all 4 are governed under different rules.
Yeah.
So, that's another thing people don't recognize is what they do in the NBA is not necessarily legal at the college level, not necessarily legal at the high school level.
Right.
So getting back to that, when you talk about rules, and I mean when we talk about rules, how important is it for you guys to know rules? How much do you study the rules? How well do you have to?
About like the coaches assume you know the rules. The coordinators, the people who assign the game, assume you know the rules. It's the play calling where you can have some misses here and there. But when it comes to a rule, like, you can't miss it. So we do a lot of rule studying, and especially in the fall, because that's when our NCAA test is. That's when we're kind of all warming up and getting ready for the season. But like, we'll have study groups for the rules, which is really nice. But yeah, like I said, coaches and supervisors assume you know the rules, and then the play calling kind of comes as follow. But definitely knowing the rules, and especially as a younger official on like veteran crews, because veterans, not saying veterans get complacent or anything like that, but as a younger official, that like there's some really good opportunities for you to step up and help the crew. And most of the times that's with a rule, and the veteran, if they get it and they're thanking you at like halftime, at the end of the game, whenever that is.
Especially if there's been a rule
they're
change.
putting a bug in the signer's ear, like, hey, this kid knows what he's talking about. He knows his stuff.
Yeah, but especially if there's been a rule change, and as a veteran, you're still thinking of the rule as it was, not
happens
as it
to me
is.
all the time.
Yeah,
Yep.
And so that is monumental when someone can come in and be like, no, this is the new rule, and or whatever.
One thing I like listening to both of you, because in terms of how long you've been officiating, I've been reffing a lot longer. Doesn't mean I'm any better, but it just means I've been a little longer. One thing I like what you guys are talking about too, though, is when it's talking about camps. And the thing about camps, and you alluded to it, and you did too, we don't look at camps. I think the three of us, we don't look at going to a camp as spending money. We look at it as investing.
Exactly.
Yes. Yeah.
That's what I was going to say. Like, it's ROI, just like everything else.
Yep.
What are you putting in?
Yes, sir.
And it's not the faster you put it in, the faster you're going to get out.
Right.
Everybody's journey's different. Like,
Yes,
so then, I've shared with you guys kind of my journey. Well, like, if I'm helping a younger official and they go to camp and they don't get hired, and they're bummed, they're like, well, didn't you? I'm like, everybody's journey's different.
Yeah.
Right.
Again, it's another one of those things where, like, the faster you can understand that, and it's not given. You have to, these clinicians, these supervisors have to see you multiple times. That's just how it works. But yeah, it's the return on investment. It could be 1 year, it could be 5 years.
Right.
And you said something also that caught my ear. I remember when I was a very, very young official, and I had an older official tell me that, and I had the opportunity to work with him. He was a college level official, and that's back on doing two-person.
Yeah.
And I remember that I was asking him some questions because I was enamored by the fact he was a college official. I was like, ooh, I could be a college official one day.
Yeah.
And I looked at him, I said, well, what do you do for a living? And he looked at me, he goes, well, I own such and such business. And at the time, I was starting to look at business ownership, so I was really intrigued. Then I go, well, what do you own? What do you do? And he told me, and I said, so working on your business that hard? He said, well, if you're going to do the upper levels, you pretty much have to own your own business.
Yeah.
And I said, well, why? And I know you can relate to this.
Yeah.
So go ahead and tell people why.
Yeah, I mean, like, you have to have the flexibility, like, because if you're going to travel the country, like I do, like when you're refereeing these games, you're working for somebody else. Like, they might think it's cool, but then, like, most times they don't truly understand, like, the nature of the beast is, and especially the higher you move up, and now you're trying to explain. Well, then, like, okay, well, it was okay, like, not, now you're in California, or now you're in North Dakota, like Colorado. And it's Tuesday, it's Wednesday. So, like, you have to have that flexibility because the last thing we want to do is turn down a game.
Right.
Because we feel like, okay, if we turn down a game, that means we're not going to get the next maybe 5 or 10 games that they want to send us.
Wow.
So, but yeah, that flexibility is huge. So,
and during the season, you could be gone, all week.
Yeah.
And so, a job is not going to be very flexible.
Exactly.
Your boss is going to be looking at you like, no, this isn't the military. We don't have to let you, take that time off, right? And so, and then, so you've gone out to California and you've officiated out there.
Yeah.
And typically, so if your game is scheduled on a Tuesday, do you have to be there Monday?
So it kind of varies.
Okay.
I do like to get there the night before. So, like, if I'm going out west, I like to get there the night before. It's a long day if you're getting there early in the morning, jet lag, and you got to referee at 7 o'clock that night.
Right.
But most of the time, what they'll end up doing is they'll put you, like, on a little swing. So, like, let's say I have a game Tuesday at, let's say, Denver University. Now this year we have the Mountain West in our Big Ten Consortium. So then, maybe now then on Tuesday I'm at Denver, and then on Wednesday maybe I'm at Colorado State, and then maybe Thursday, I'll go out to San Diego State, and then I'll come back on Friday, and then Saturday I'm back in the Midwest. So that they try to tie in games out that way, like if you're traveling far, to make it a little bit more worth it.
Right.
So
well, and I think it saves them money too, right?
Yeah, and like it helps them.
Yeah.
So it really can turn into a win-win.
Right.
So
how many officials are in the Big Ten? You call it the Big Ten Consortium?
Yeah, Big Ten Consortium. We have 140 people, men and women, and so we're at 140, and right now there's ongoing tryout camps for this upcoming season. So that number could increase, it could decrease. I'm not 100% sure right now, but we're right around 140. So
are you still
140.
Are you still going to camps then? Do you still?
Yeah, so I go to our Big Ten camp. Like we have a training camp coming up in Chicago, July 5th through the 7th, that I'll go out to. So there will be some people who are already on staff that are there to train, get better, and to improve their schedules. And then there's also a lot of people there who aren't on staff who are trying out.
Right.
So it'll be like a blend of.
So will they mix you in with the people trying out, or will you probably work with people that are already on the schedule?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. So it's varied the last several years on how they do that. I've gone to these open camps where I'm on a crew with 3 people who are on staff, including me, or I've been like a crew chief, and I'm working with 2 people who are trying out. Okay. So it kind of varies. I'm not 100% sure how they do it this year. We also in the past have had staff, like strictly staff only camps. We're not doing one of those this year, but that's also been one of the methods that they've done in the off season, and that's more for like camaraderie and because and you guys know it is a tough business. Like we're all we have, and so when they can implement like some social activities, things like that, like that's really fun.
Yeah, we typically don't have fans when we go to the games, so
So when you guys go to these camps, what teams are playing?
So typically it's an AAU circuit. Like I think in Chicago it's maybe the Under Armour Gauntlet. There's also like the Nike EYBL circuit that's out there, the Adidas. So typically most of the time it's one of those circuits that you're there
like
refereeing.
The high school boys, or
like
will you do any girls?
No. So it's like 16 and 17 U boys for the most part. So
and the camps that you guys go to, do they charge you?
Yes.
What's the average cost of going to one of those kind of camps?
Like a Division I camp is anywhere from $500 to $600. Okay. So
that's not too bad.
And again, it's all about return on investment.
Right.
And the reason I ask that is because everybody on the outside of officiating, or those who might want to move up, they're curious about the cost. They're curious about their investment. And we're I don't know. I wouldn't say we're at the ground level, but we are recruiting and training people to get into high school.
Right.
And then people that are interested in lower level women's.
Yeah.
But the questions that we get in our trainings are interesting because people come in thinking all about money, and I'm going, yeah, money's important to us, but at the same time, just like you guys said, you have to invest. You have to put the wood in the stove before you're going to get some heat out. You can't just sit there and wait for the stove to heat you up.
Exactly.
And people, I think, folks don't realize, and we always tell them, we're independent contractors. Our job is to work with different, I don't know about you guys. I don't know if you're independent contractors.
Yeah.
You still are.
Yep, we are.
Okay.
Yep.
So that's good. Then I'm consistent because I'm telling everybody, and being a sports official, you're an independent contractor, which means you can do whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
You don't have to go to camps. You don't have to get better. If you don't, you're probably not going to move up. But
I've always believed, out of sight, out of mind.
Exactly.
Right.
Oh, absolutely.
I'll talk to some of my peers, and I love them to death, and they're like, "Oh man, I don't need to go to camp." And like, "Why are you going to camp?" They're asking like, "Why are you going to camp?" I'm like, I've never not gone to camp. Like I always think of out of sight, out of mind. It's the middle of summer. If my signer can see me in the middle of summer, I just think it shows them that you care. You want to get better.
Most of your buddies that you're talking about, do they are they self-employed as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Now I do have several peers who are not self-employed.
Okay.
And especially like early on, like the younger people, and like early on in their career, more than likely not working for themselves. But then like over time, I've seen like my situation. When I was basically 23 to 28, not working for myself, working for somebody else, and then being able to use basketball to leverage to be able to do that. So,
Cool.
You know, that's one thing that one of our assigners from years ago, who has since passed away. I don't know if you knew Dave,
You knew
didn't
Dave.
you?
Oh yeah.
Dave Enderley.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was one of the things that he had always said, because he would go to our, high school meetings, and
Yep.
Yeah.
and if people didn't show up at the meetings, again, out of sight, out of mind type of thing. And so, that wasn't the reason I was going to the meetings. I really enjoyed going. I enjoy going to the meetings. But
Because we can learn more.
yeah, but that was one of the things that always stuck in my mind was like, if they don't see you, how can they schedule you?
Yeah.
Like, okay, they might know that you're an official, but they don't see you around. It's like you're not going to be the first person that comes to their mind. And so I always made sure, after that, every time I'd see Dave, I'd go up, "Hey, Dave, how you doing tonight?" Hey,
Make sure you knew.
make
you
sure
were.
I'm here.
Yeah, make sure I
Tanya
had,
Hearn's
yeah,
here.
make
Which
sure I
wasn't
had
hard
conversation.
because you were the only female in
Right?
the room.
Yeah, which is really cool.
Yeah,
But that, what you just said remind me of, we have 2 classes going on right now, one for basketball, one for volleyball. And we only have 1 student per class.
Yep.
What's
That's
interesting?
okay. We
That's
still do
okay.
it.
Yeah.
What's interesting is we just completed the volleyball course, so he is ready to get games or get matches.
We're putting
now.
him, but now we're doing on-court training with him. So,
But when we were talking to him one night, he's a basketball official as well, so we were talking to him about basketball. And I won't mention his name, maybe. So we were talking, and he's sitting there and he's complaining about not getting basketball games. And
varsity games.
Yeah, varsity. Okay. And I looked at him, and I finally it just tore inside of me. I said, "Look, stop talking. Let me tell you what's going on." And I just explained it with love. I said, "Look, let me tell you. I'm going to tell you this because I care about you. Now, you're here for volleyball, but let me tell you how you can get basketball games." And I said, so many officials get stuck in the mindset of, I can't get games in Fort Wayne. Okay, so what's the answer? Well, these guys just need to come and see me. I said, you're not getting it. They have tons of officials available to them. If you can't get games in Fort Wayne, take your butt to another city. Travel.
I don't want to travel.
Well, then if you don't want to travel, you don't want to work.
Yeah.
And finally.
That's what I started doing. I started traveling because I was telling him, I said, they won't give me boys varsity games in the area.
Yeah.
So we got to travel.
So I started traveling outside of the area.
Now she gets boys varsities. I'm like, if you can't get what you want here, go somewhere else and find it. Don't sit here and complain because then you're going to go into a stupor and you're going to become bitter. And I've seen some officials, unfortunately, fall into that.
Yeah.
So the guy listened. He came back the next week. He says, well, I took your advice and I went down to Carmel. Man, I went down there. And he just goes on a rant. And he's like, they were telling me how good I was and this, that, and the other. I said, right. And he sits there. He goes,
it was summer ball, but but at least he
but
went
he's
out
and
he was seen by an assigner in that area, and it's like that's what we're trying to tell you, and that's what we tell people. You never know who's watching.
You never.
And
you never know.
We had a couple of guys that we were reffing next to on a court, and they were just halfway walking up and down the court.
Were they even walking, or were they standing in one spot?
It was.
Let's keep it real.
It was ugly, and I was just like, and I just went up to him and I said,
she didn't even know the guy.
No, we knew both of them. Yes.
Oh,
and
they weren't ours, were they?
Yeah. I was.
These are people we've trained?
Yeah.
Who are they? I'm going to go whoop their tails.
But once you get them trained and they get out there, they're going to do what they're going to do.
Independent contractor.
You're independent.
Do whatever you want to
do. And they aren't bad officials. They just got into this mindset of laziness and stopped working hard.
Yeah.
And I just went up to him and I said, what are your ambitions with officiating? Well, I want to move to the next level. You think the way you're reffing is going to get you to the next level? Well, I said, well, you realize there are college coaches over here watching, right? You think they want you on their games?
Yeah.
Looking like that, yeah.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Okay.
He actually said that?
And I just walked. Yes, I did.
I mean, no, he said probably not.
Yeah.
Did he improve?
Nope.
Wow.
Yeah.
But what are you going to do? I said what I needed to say.
And helped as much as you could.
Yeah.
But yeah, one thing you said though, like, has always stuck to me, and I love it, is you never know who's watching.
Exactly.
You're always in an interview.
Yep.
I love that.
And like, if
gotta write that down. That's pretty good.
Like, you're always in an interview. Like, you never know who's in the crowd. You never know what one person, who they know, and that's life, like networking.
Right.
Yes, sir.
And even with coaches, you know, even when we're talking to coaches, you don't know who they know.
Yeah. Exactly.
That can help you to get to where you want to go.
Yeah.
So when we put your this episode on, be looking for that as part of the caption. You're always in an interview.
Yeah.
That was good, man.
Man.
Yeah, I'm gonna put that on a shirt sometime and sell it.
Like, cause
I like that.
a good example, like, you know, when I was at my first college camp, I'm there just, this is my first time really working 3-man. I'm just trying to make sure after I report a foul, I'm going opposite the table.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And at this camp, like I said, you know, I'm just trying to get some basic college fundamental things right. Well, after one of my games, this gentleman approaches me and he's talking about, you know, his training program. And then at the end, he's like, well, you know, would you want to give our training program a shot? And I'm like, well, what is it? And that was the NBA. And that's where I got identified. It was at my first ever college camp up at Michigan State. And I'm just like, I'm here to learn the basics of college. Like, I just started, man. He's
and now
like,
he's talking to you about NBA.
He's like, yeah, I know. He's like, what? So like, you never know.
Right.
And then, but
so you didn't take him up on it?
So I took that. That's
Okay.
That's when I went down and did the grassroots kind of, like I said.
And that's when you
Wasn't
figured
really
out
for
it wasn't
me.
for you.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But at least you checked it out.
Yeah, checked
Right.
it out.
Yeah.
But then like that same principle has occurred like with college basketball and like moving up is you know, you never know who's watching.
Yep.
Like one example also. So my current Big Ten assigner, who I'm working for right now, I was doing a D2 game at Findlay University. This was probably in 2018. And he's there watching, and at the time he's a big time active official. He's on an off night and he lives near Findlay and he's there. I'm like, man, it's an off night. Like, I think he went to Findlay, but I'm like, why is he here, man? Like, I would be at home, like, chilling, because I know how busy this guy is. Well, fast forward, now he's our assigner, and like he and I have a really good relationship.
Oh,
and,
wow.
You know, he's brought up that moment, I brought up that to him, and so like I always think about those things.
Yeah.
So
It's
tell
all
me
about
this.
connections. It's just it's like a web. you
Yeah,
know,
exactly.
Somehow it's all connected. But I have a quick question. I guess I don't know why this has been in my head. What was your first Big Ten game that you did?
So my first Big Ten game I did was COVID year, and I worked at Indiana, and they played Tennessee Tech.
Okay.
And so
Did you ever wear a mask?
So we didn't have to wear. We had to wear whistle guards.
Oh, I hate those things.
Yeah.
Those were so
I hate
stupid.
those
But
big,
it was
like,
better
black
than it was
things.
better than a mask.
Yeah,
It
but
was
you
better
can't
than a
hear them
mask,
when you
but-
blow them.
Yeah, it was weird. It was really weird. So I did that game. There was 150 people there. Well, then the following year, I did a game at Purdue,
Okay.
and which that was awesome. But yeah, so Indiana was my first. But like I said, it was during COVID, so it wasn't like the full experience.
Yeah.
But then like a year or two after that is when I worked at Purdue for the first time, and I'm like, man, this is wild.
And it was packed.
Yeah, it was packed.
So
yeah.
now you got the full experience. So I thought that your first game was an IU game, but I couldn't remember, and so
Yep.
but I didn't know it was during the COVID year, so
Yep.
that kind of stinks. But
Nice.
at least you got kind of a gentle introduction.
Yeah,
right?
exactly,
So,
exactly. Because like the brighter
pressure
the lights,
but not pressured.
yeah.
Yeah.
Anytime you can get bright light repetitions, it'll pay off at some point.
Yeah.
So what's up with the shirt?
So USA basketball. So last summer, the Big Ten was responsible for assigning officials for USA basketball for like U18 and U19 kids who were trying out for the national team. And so me and 3 other guys got selected to go out and work. So last June for like 3 days out there in Colorado Springs.
Nice.
At the Olympic Training Center, we were refereeing during the day and helping them out with the officiating standpoint, which was really cool. I mean, and again, it was a lot of camaraderie. We did some fun things off the court. Went to a concert at the Red Rocks Amphitheater and
Nice.
things like that. So that was cool. But yeah, so I got to go out there and do that.
The shirt caught my eye because I have a jacket with that emblem on it because our son played for the USA team.
Oh yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
so when I saw it, I was like, hey, I can kind of relate to that a little
Yeah.
bit. Not as an official, but the point is I
Yeah.
can relate to it a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, he was out in Colorado Springs at one time, I'm sure, right?
Yeah,
Then?
yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably more than once because
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
he played with the team a few times. So
Yep.
You never got a chance to ref, Reg? Reggie?
No,
he's younger than Reggie.
Yeah, I'm much younger. So, because Reggie,
well, not much.
Maybe not
Reggie's
much.
just turning. He'll be 33 this year.
Oh, he'll be 33 this year?
Yeah.
Okay, so he was a senior when I was a freshman in high school.
So you haven't done anything at all with the G League?
No.
And no interest?
No.
I find that interesting, though, because that tells me that you've matured, because you know exactly where you want to be, and you're not enamored with the idea of going to the NBA. You went, the guy invited you, you went to the camp or the combine or whatever it was, and then you got a taste of it, and you're like, okay, this is not for me. And most people that are young or they don't know much about careers yet. You didn't go for the NBA. Oh man, what's wrong with you? You're like, I know my lane, and I know where I want to be, and you're grasping it, and you're doing something with it. So
plus,
my hat goes off to you.
NBA is not really basketball anyway. I mean, let's be real.
Let's get your opinion on that. Is NBA basketball?
Let's recap. Just the recent video that was posted on
Stop.
Facebook.
I want you to behave today. She's still been talking.
Double
Did you see
dribbling
that?
down the court.
I honestly did it.
Oh my gosh!
Tell me what happened.
She had a fast break.
Okay.
Easy layup. She's dribbling, left hand, right hand touches ball, left hand.
She switches as she's running.
She switches it.
She switched it in her hand.
Like.
Was a violation called then?
No,
it wasn't. No. So tell me this.
But because it is WNBA, and I was telling him, even though I think it should have been called a violation, I understand why it wasn't. Because if you're not going to call it on LeBron James, who's walking up the court, then why would you call it, in the WNBA?
Well, I told her.
But a violation to me is a violation.
Well, I told her from the position of the official, from what I could see, I don't know if she was the C, because you could see an official running behind her, but she was about 5 or 10 steps behind her.
Well, if she was the lead, she was way out of position. I don't know if a lead was
ahead of her to see it.
Yeah.
So, but I told her there probably was a lead ahead, because on that level and on your level, you're not going to let the players get ahead of you. Right. You're just not going to. You can't.
Yeah.
Well, you got to beat the tape, right?
Yeah.
So
the official probably saw it, but I'm curious as to why they didn't call it. But it may align with what you said. It's
just entertainment.
It's the top level. Well, it's not just entertainment.
It's just entertainment.
I just think there's just two different philosophies. I think between college and pro.
I agree.
So
you on your level, if that happened, you guys would have had to call that.
Probably yes.
Probably
yeah.
So why do you? And you didn't see it, but do you have any idea why it wouldn't be called on that level, on the NBA or the WNBA level?
I haven't seen the video. Like, if it was a clear path and there was no active primary defender on her, and she did it, maybe they look, again, advantage, disadvantage. I don't know if that's
right.
But your conclusion was mine. We talked about it, and she was all like she is about it. And I said, well, on that level, maybe, because I'm not on that level, but maybe there was no reason to call it. I mean, there was no harm, no foul, and people are not there to see us blow our whistle on the pro level.
Yeah, I people always ask me. The simplest thing I always say is there's just two different philosophies.
Yes, that's a good explanation.
The NBA is a union itself. They have a mission. They have goals, rules. Some rules and interpretations we will never really truly know about
unless we join that union.
Right.
Exactly.
And I don't think I'm going to. I can tell you, I won't be joining
that
union.
I don't think we're going to make it there at this age.
So based on that, I'm not sure if our opinion really matters.
It really doesn't.
Yeah. It's an opinion.
It's just my opinion.
Yeah.
And
I have to
really,
listen to it all the time.
Oh yeah, so much.
So I got a question for you before we let you go.
Yeah.
High school basketball question.
Okay.
Oh no.
Yeah. See if we can stomp him.
I doubt it.
Have you done very much high school?
So I haven't worked. I don't think I've worked a high school game since maybe 2019.
Oh, good. We can get him. Pick one.
All right. Let's see here.
This is fun.
All right. It is okay for the team members on the bench to yell during the opposite team's free throw shots. True or false?
High school.
High school.
It is okay for the team members on the bench to yell during the opposite team's free throw shots. True or false?
And obviously in an attempt to distract the shooter.
I'm going to say false.
Okay. Why?
I'm going to say it could be labeled as unsporting at the high school level.
We'll let him do another one. We'll see. We'll give him a grade at the end.
Let's see here.
testing his high school
Oh,
knowledge.
I got to.
That's all right. He's probably going to make you do that one too.
There is no such thing as an over-the-back foul. That is true.
High school.
Displacement, yes.
You sure?
Yes.
You positive?
Yeah.
Absolutely convinced.
Absolutely convinced.
Last answer.
And
Last
see, he didn't
question.
even hesitate on that one.
He
so
didn't.
It is a violation to dribble the ball while taking the ball out before throwing it in. True or false? False.
he doesn't even remember the answer.
Whatever. Why do you say false?
I've had this happen before.
On the college level?
Probably actually high school, way
Yeah.
back in the day.
Okay.
Where boop, get the ball, and he's like dribbling the ball, picking it up, and I'm boom, and I point, and I'm like, violation. Not really knowing exactly. I just felt like it was
Right.
wrong, like that it was illegal.
Right.
And I remember reading the rule book and asking some fellow officials, and it's somewhere in, I couldn't, if you had a high school rule book here, I probably wouldn't be able to show you where, but I do remember reading that is actually not illegal.
Yep.
You're right. It's not.
Yeah.
You were 3 for 3, by the way.
Yeah, you
Like
were.
a free throw shooter, if you bounce on the ball, like they
can dribble all day,
yeah,
well, for 10
as long
seconds.
As and if I'm not mistaken, like as long as they don't cross, because if the ball goes in the lane, then we have a violation.
You mean
like
If
goes
the
off
free throw
the
shooter,
lane?
yeah, like
if they lose it into the lane?
Yeah.
yeah,
Right.
or like
So like they do that little flip thing, and if
Yeah.
they lose it and they have to step over to go get it,
exactly
violation.
Yes,
That brings up an interesting point, because at the free throw line, players they bounce the ball over the line all the time into the lane, which is not a violation. But if they
No.
lose
if
it,
they
it
lose
is.
the ball, and then they would have to
Correct.
go in to get it.
Because
Yep.
now they're breaking that plane.
Correct.
It doesn't say that the ball can't break the plane. It
Correct.
says the player can't
Correct.
break the plane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like if that were to happen, and let's say it's a 1-and-1, and it's on the first, it'd be a violation. Then the opposite team B would get the ball.
Correct.
out of
Correct.
bounds.
Because it's a
Yeah.
1-on-1. Yeah. You 3 for 3.
So,
You 3 for 3.
cool.
I guess we can give him a Milky Way for that.
Awesome.
Is that one of your favorite candies?
It's one of my daughter's favorite candies. So there we go. She'll
How
love
old's your
that.
daughter?
She's 6.
6.
So
Okay.
yep. So
So what's her name for you? Daddy, Dada, what?
she likes to call me Daddy. I'm
Daddy.
Yeah.
For now.
Yeah, for now.
Yeah. Give it a couple more years.
I got a 24-year-old.
It'll be Pops
It
or-
changes.
Yeah.
Changes. But that's cool. I mean,
Yep.
the relationship is still there.
Yeah.
So, any last comments or questions for us?
I mean, I really appreciate you guys having me on. I know how passionate about the training and the content that you guys are. So that's really cool, because there's not a lot of people doing that in Fort Wayne.
Right.
On
There's
a
not.
national standpoint, there's still few, not many. So that is really cool, and I really appreciate you guys having me on, and would just like to hope that you guys continue to do what you're doing, and you guys give a lot back to the community, and which it goes a long way for sure.
I appreciate that.
Like, I believe in paying forward, especially something you're passionate about. And we're a fraternity, men and women officials. We're a fraternity. We're all we have. And the games can't go on without us, and we need more of us. So,
Yep.
I heard somebody say that if you're playing a game and you don't have referees, it's just recess.
Yep.
yeah,
I was like, oh, I like that.
yeah.
I might well put that on a shirt too, huh? You like that?
I like that one.
You like that?
Yeah,
Okay.
write it down.
It's up here. All right. So thanks again for joining.
Write it down. You said it's up here. That means
it's the steel trap. It's here.
it's never coming back out again, because it's a steel trap.
Yeah.
Anyway, folks, we enjoyed having you join us again today.
Hey, check us out on reftrainingschool.com for those of you
RefTrainingschool.com.
that are might be interested in becoming officials.
RefTrainingschool.com.
And also check out our
You're supposed to repeat it too.
HoosierThreeOn3.com.
You're supposed to repeat it too.
RefTrainingschool.com.
Not referee.
Just
We didn't train him correctly.
reftrainingschool.com.
RefTrainingschool.com.
He's got the deep bass voice, the Barry White
Yeah.
voice.
I like the Barry White voice.
RefTrainingschool.com.
Oh, all the women like the deep Barry voice.
And then also check out our HoosierThreeOn3.com for
Hoosier3on3.com.
Hoosier3on3.com.
Oh, you see how you did
I
that?
like that.
Hoosier.
I like that.
Come
That
on
was
now.
good. He said, come on.
I got a face for radio.
Yes, you do. He said, Hoosier 3. I got to start doing it. Hoosier3on3.com.
You got to get your base, though.
Okay, I have to work on
Yeah.
that. Okay.
All right, July 12th, the tournament at Turnstone.
At Turnstone, first day of
Three Rivers Festival.
So
So.
you guys get your kids out to that.
Third through 12th grade, boys or girls.
Boys and girls. Yep. Anything else?
That'll be all,
All
folks.
right. Anything else?
Thank you so much. I
Thank
appreciate
you
it.
for coming out.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
When's your season start?
It'll start sometime late October. So
Okay.
we'll get our schedules early October.
Nice.
And how many games, last question for me anyway, how many games will we be looking forward to seeing you ref this year?
Hopefully plenty.
Yeah.
Hopefully plenty.
You don't have a number, idea?
Hopefully I'm keeping busy. Hopefully I'm keeping busy.
That's a humble answer right there. I appreciate it.
I'm going to need you to send me your schedule so that I can make sure that I'm, if I'm available, I can watch them on
Absolutely.
TV.
That'd be a great idea, too, to encourage our class members to watch.
Yeah.
That'll give them some more encouragement to move up. Good deal. All right. Well, thanks again, Mr. Love. We appreciate having you on, man.
Yep. Thank you, guys. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. And as far as you guys are concerned, we will see you next time on RefTime. Take care. Thanks again for listening to RefTime, powered by RefTrainingschool.com and Hoosier3on3.com. Produced by Coraggio Media. RefTime is recorded in WELT Studios in beautiful downtown Fort Wayne, Indiana.
To join RTS, visit RefTrainingschool.com. Please like, subscribe, and share with your friends. Until next time.